few more people are joining, so I will keep adding them. All right, we are 57 people already. Good morning, everyone. Just a second, let me turn on my video. So sorry. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our GoPMM webinar on market insight and research. We are very thrilled to see so many of you here today, especially on busy Saturday morning. We know so many of you might have canceled some of your plans, extra hour of sleep for this session. So thank you so very much. We are deeply grateful for this, and we promise that we will try to make this session as engaging so that it will be worth every minute of your time. Before we dive in, I think let me tell you a bit about me and Vipul. So many people have already joined in last time, but few of you who are new to this particular session, you must be wondering who are these two gentlemen who are continuously speaking. So before we start, Vipul, let's start with your introduction.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Vipul Nanda. I'm currently a director of product marketing at Cash Payments, where I met this amazingly charismatic person who's calling me a gentleman for no particularly good reason at all. But yeah, I've been spending the last 2.5 years working in product marketing in the payment space. So before this, I was at Razorpay. Now I'm at Cashfree. So lots of payment gateway and B2B selling across different kinds of businesses and lines of businesses. I have about 10 years of work ex in total. Before that, I was working as a digital marketer and head of SEO and CRO at Guild Capital, which is a small VC firm based out of Bombay and in the US. So the idea is that I think all of us and the people that I've met in product marketing either had their origin in digital marketing of some sort or the other, and they moved on to that. And I've had the privilege to work with a lot of people making that transition from marketing to product marketing and to do well in product marketing. So at least from my perspective, this has been great to connect with so many other folks who are somewhere in the process of making that switch or have made that switch and learned so much about product marketing that I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so very much, Vipul. About me, I'm from Surat, Gujarat, currently living in Bangalore. I am an engineer by graduation. After engineering, I started my own startup. Name was Icon Scout, way back in 2015 in my hometown, Surat. We ran the company for almost 5 years, and then luckily our company got acquired by Malaysia-based startup called Roti Files. That's how I started my journey as a marketing. From last 1.5 year, I along with Vipul, I'm at Cash Free Payments, handling international payment suite. Yes, so that's about it, about both of our introduction. Coming to GoPMM, what is GoPMM? Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit about it. So GoPMM is the Indian product marketing community. We had a clear idea what we want to do, just to spread the awareness and share our knowledge to help fellow marketeers. We want to create some kind of community where everyone can help each other, connect, learn, and grow together. I think we started our first webinar on 14th of May, and in last 15 days we have seen immense growth as far as the community is concerned. Currently, there are more than 250 members currently in the WhatsApp group, and in last 1 week specifically, we have seen that so many of you are engaging with each other, helping each other in every need. So that is our main goal. Our bigger picture is to again create a supportive environment where we can share some insights, discuss some kind of strategies, and while we were thinking of this, that's when we realized how about we do one webinar series where we can give you a quick introduction about product marketing, and that's how this entire webinar series started. Our first webinar, as you can see on screen, it was about product marketing one-on-one. Happened on 14th May, where we took users through basic strategies and teach them about what product marketing is, where in organization product marketing sits. That's how we started. In this webinar, we will be talking more about marketing insights and research. Third webinar will be about building effective product stories. And finally, fourth webinar will be about product and revenue growth strategies. Can we move on to next slide, people? Yes, so just a second. Today, we'll be start with why market research is important. And that's after that, we will go through understanding of product, market, and competition. After our session, we have one very exciting activity for all of you. So we will be doing that as well, where we will send all of you in the breakout rooms. You will get to work with each other. And finally, we have few announcements to make. And after that, we will take a Q&A, and I think your feedback as well. Talking about feedback, one feedback I got specifically from Vipul after our last session was, for 2 hours, he was only looking at my face. So he got bored finally. So we want to request all of you, if you can start your camera. All right. If you want to eat during the session, totally fine. All right. Anything you want to do, totally fine. But if you can start your camera, we will feel like we are talking to the real people rather than just talking between me and people. So that is the only request. No pressure. But if some of you can start your camera, it would be great help. All right. I think Vipul, we can start with the session. I think. Thank you, Aishwarya. Okay, you started and turned off again.
No, but a lot of people have. I see Hashir, Parul, Rudra, Aishwarya, Siddharth. A lot of people have started their cameras. So thank you so much, folks. But moving on, I just wanted to add one thing that will kind of tie the structure of what we're doing together. In the first session, we had talked about how, to our perspective, we can break product marketing down into a fairly simple equation. The idea of market research and understanding the market, product, and customer, plus powerful storytelling, which is where you talk about your messaging and positioning and what you say to your customer, will equal to revenue growth. And those are the three primary things that a product marketer is responsible for. So if you look at the way we have structured our sessions, the first session was that broad overview. Today, we're going to focus on how product marketers can understand the market, do research that delivers useful insights to them, and helps them find that mythical product market fit that we all hear so much about, but only I think some of us have seen, especially if you're working in geo, but we leave that aside for now. So moving on, folks. Why is market research important? Now, if we think about World War II, in the immediate aftermath of World War II, the US had a fairly clear strategy about what it was doing to post World War economies. The reason why US was the predominant superpower and the economic superpower in India, like on the planet, until China's rise in the last couple of decades, was because of strategic choices it made then. One of the major things it did was pump a lot of money into Western Europe and into Japan, which is the economies that it kind of took over at the end of World War II. And what it did was, because there was suddenly a new wave of people in these countries who are willing to buy and deal with American goods, a lot of international companies who would ordinarily be looking to would not think about their product selling in Japan were now looking at Japan as a very important market. And one of those companies was Nestle. So Nestle was very optimistic about Japan. It had a large population in a small area. It was, compared to most of the rest of Asia, quite urban. So they were thinking, we are going to go and sell coffee to these Japanese people. However, despite their best attempts between 1950 and 1975, they were not able to sell coffee effectively to Japanese people. One of the main reasons was that Japan had a very strong tea culture, where tea was a very important part of how they would interact with each other. It was a very social aspect of what they did. And for them to understand how to break into that mindset, how could they understand the Japanese market to move past? They brought in an expert from France. That person did lots of user research, and he said the reason why we're not able to sell coffee to Japanese people is because there is no emotional connect that Japanese people have with coffee. And he suggested something that over the course of 30, 40 years turned Japan into one of the world's largest importers of coffee. As of 2 years ago, Japan is the seventh largest importer of coffee in the world, given the relative size of its population. And that's crazy. And we'll go into how that happened and what Nestle had to do to make that happen later. But first, a recap from our first session. When we talked about market research, we said there are three main touch points that you have to consider. One is you to understand the product, and not just understand the product in terms of how technically it works or who has built it or what platform it's on, but understand the product in how it interacts with the customer. The second is to understand the market in terms of understanding the landscape and the context in which the customer will make a choice, and the competition would be what are the other choices available to your customer. So broadly, any product marketing reference material you look at will keep saying you have to understand the customer.
but they don't really always tell you how you are able to accomplish that. To our perspective, understanding the product, understanding the market, and understanding competition is how you can unlock customer insights that will deliver useful opportunities to you as a product marketer. So let's talk about what understanding the product looks like. Okay. So first, let me talk to you about my own personal experience when I was at Razorpay. There was a product that I was given ownership of. I had just come out of my postgrad course. These were the first few days as a product marketer at all. I will be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. But they basically had a solution which they called Optimizer. Now, basically, if you're a business and you want to accept digital payments, you have to use a payment gateway, which is what Razorpay is, which is what Cash Free Payments is also, which is what CC Avenue, PayU, etc. All these companies are. But if you look at, say, Amazon, Flipkart, Swiggy, and Zomato, they are using multiple payment aggregators, but as an end customer you don't get to see that experience because they're using an orchestration solution. You would have seen JustPay while you were going through that checkout perhaps. So JustPay is an orchestration solution. It basically allows you to use multiple payment aggregators. Razorpay wanted to emulate JustPay's success. They built an orchestration solution, and their understanding of why this would work or what problem it was solving for the customer was that large enterprises integrating a new payment gateway takes between 4 to 8 weeks. By integration, I mean, some developer sitting in a room looking at different code, figuring out how one server is going to speak to the other server. Not particularly relevant for product marketers, but important to note that it was cost. That anyone who has to make a decision about whether or not I have 1, 2, 3, or 4 payment aggregators is looking at an investment of somewhere between 8 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks for each new payment aggregator they add, even if adding payment aggregator leads to better results for them because you are able to leverage different costs. So if UPI is cheaper on one, cards is cheaper on the other, you send UPI to one and cards to the other, you save money, right? But to access that, they had to put in an effort. So for Razorpay, when they came up with the product, they thought this is the problem we're going to solve. But that is where I think there was a gap that we as a team were able to fill up because we understood that there were different pain points they hadn't considered. But what are pain points first? Pain points are problems that anyone faces when they're using a particular solution or when they're trying to achieve an outcome. These are broadly speaking what you would consider unmet needs. They can be classified into different things. One would be functional. Like if any of you have had to use IRCTC, and I pity you if you had to, you would understand that there the pain point would be that it is extremely painful to go through that experience. Okay. Financial would be if it's too expensive. Emotional would be when you aren't confident about it not betraying you, like, or in the sense of if you are booking for a D2C product on a platform you've never seen before, you might be more likely to go for cash on delivery because you're not certain if you make a prepaid order if that product will ever land up at your doorstep. And convenience, right, in terms of limited access. So if you break pain points into that bucket, let's consider 3 examples. The outcome I want to achieve is to move from point A to point B in a city. Or the outcome I want to achieve is find a travel option or like a stay option somewhere. Or I want to talk to or connect with people. Okay. So from getting to point A to point B, one pain point would be financial because taxis can be expensive. The other pain point would be it's not convenient if in the app based taxi era, you would have to call and book a taxi 24 hours or at least 8 hours before, right? If you had to talk about finding cheaper stay options, then it would be financial because hotels are expensive to stay in. The emotional connect will be there because if you're staying in like a chain hotel, then it would be a similar experience whether you were in Barcelona or you were in Rio de Janeiro or you were in New Delhi, because all like premier hotels will kind of look or feel the same. And if you were connecting with people, then finding them would be sometimes difficult. And even functionally finding them if you are like trying to use phone numbers or SMSs to connect with them. These are all old school products. Any guesses on what getting from point A to point B is? Which product solved that problem? So someone has guessed the second one about the stay option, that is Airbnb. Anyone for the first one?
The first
Uber or Ola for the first one,
Uber or
Yes,
Ola.
Uber is the answer.
or Namma Yatri better than that.
Yeah, we've gone into that. For the second one, like someone's already pointed out, it's Airbnb. And yes, the third one is Facebook. Because see, prior to social media as a alternative to connecting with people digitally, you literally had to send SMSs, emails, and whatnot to them. So these were the problems that these three solutions were solving. Now, what happened when we were looking at Optimizer and we were trying to identify pain points was we went with the assumption that pain points was integration, but most businesses had already done some level of integration. They already had 3, 4 integrations in our target audience because we were going to big businesses. So they weren't interested in something that would solve a problem they'd already solved. What we instead did was we found that a lot of D2C brands on platforms such as Shopify, they had a different pain point. If you go through a Shopify checkout, you let the user choose between different payment gateway options. So in a lot of Shopify business websites, you will see Razorpay, you will see PayU, you will see CC Avenue, you will see Cash Free, but you leave it up to the user to choose, which makes no sense because the user doesn't know what is cheaper or more expensive to you as a business. You don't know what payment options are available once you click that button. And you aren't able to leverage or offset not just your cost, but if one of them is down, then the customer, if he clicks it and the payment doesn't go through, then they have to go all the way back to the start and reinitiate with a different payment aggregator. So that experience was broken. And that pain point happened and we identified it because if you use Shopify as a business, you don't have to integrate PAs. It's simple plugin access. Like it takes 5 minutes to set up a new payment aggregator. So our original pain point was wrong because when we went and sold Optimizer to businesses that were facing this problem, there was a lot of demand for it, and we were able to show that this was something that was better. So we solved a different pain point than what the product was built for. But part of that is also a solution state. So what Shopify was doing, or brands on Shopify was doing, like to showcase different options at checkout, was a way that they were solving the problem of using multiple payment gateways. Similarly, when we were talking about Airbnb, the solution states are you could take hotels, but they're inflexible, right? Like you can have only up to 2 people in a hotel room. Maybe you'll get a terrible, you know, set of bedding that someone will put on the floor, and that's the way you get a third person. It's not fun. Couch surfing, which was, by the way, some kind of rage that was happening in the early 2000s, is super unsafe. Like I can't believe that actually existed, that people are going to random strangers houses to sleep on their couches. You could stay with a friend, but there are inconveniences at both end, both at your end and at the friends, about having like some people there. It doesn't really feel like a holiday if those people have to be adjusting around your travel plans. And you could stay at cheaper options such as inns or motels, but those aren't necessarily what delight you when it comes to travel. So you see how Airbnb is solved for each of those problems differently. So one is Airbnb gives you different options about what you're booking. There is no 3 people to a room kind of structure there. You can book a large house or a small house, a large flat or a small flat. It will be flexible around your requirement of where you want to stay and who you want to stay with. When it comes to safety, Airbnb is pretty well known for the availability of good customer support, identifying hosts and giving reviews at both ends so that both hosts and guests know what they're getting into, and they cover for security and safety as much as possible. I'm sure there are horror stories around Airbnb, there are horror stories around pretty much every brand, but it's very clear that they've made an effort to solve for it. Then, in relative to a friend, like it is still a transactional equation. It's not like you have to take your host out for dinner when you go stay at an Airbnb. And then, you have a wide selection of properties. Now, whether you're willing to have a very premium experience or you want to have a cheaper experience, you can get both options when you're staying at an Airbnb, depending on what in part of their inventory you choose. Similarly, when it comes to Facebook and connecting with people, right? Calling or SMS, you could only have one-on-one communication. Emails were high effort and not quite that real time. Entities like MySpace that were already in the social network space, they didn't have very good design or weren't that effective. And like a blog or a vlog would be impersonal, like you were only broadcasting. You didn't have a mix of both. So Facebook solved that problem by allowing you a wall to broadcast your feelings and your photos or whatever you wanted to say at that point in time to everyone, would allow you to go from thought to post very quickly, zero effort. Facebook statuses became such a thing back then. It was good UI and UX, and even using the feed was so addictive. And also, you could reach out to people one on one, all on the same platform. And that is how Facebook and Airbnb, you can see, they were able to identify suboptimal solution states and solve for them so as to enable you to address your pain points better. And that is what these businesses did. Similarly, when we looked at Optimizer at Razorpay and we looked at solution states, one solution state that we identified was user choice, where the business was, I don't want to figure out this headache of which transaction to send where, it's too much pain in my life. I will leave it to the end user. But we realized that is where the opportunity was. And so when we went out into the market, we did over 60 interviews where we spoke to different types of businesses to identify what the issues were. I spent, like, it was ridiculous. We spent around 70 days on figuring out an annual operating plan. We had a 41-page strategy document that still gives me nightmares. We built 27 different pieces of collateral, like one pagers, videos, blog posts, pitch decks, different pitch decks for different use cases. But at the end of it, the team went to over 100 merchant pitches. We were able to bring 60 plus merchants live onto the platform. The total value of transactions that were being done through Optimizer went from a number, obviously I can't disclose, but it 5x'd. And that the number of businesses that were live on the platform went from, less than like 25 to around 150. So that is what we were able to achieve, because we were able to draw this narrative line between, here is a problem customers have, here is a product, and we were able to convert the solution into something they could understand and address their pain points and fix their solution states to take them from suboptimal to optimal. And that is the value that good market research can bring. That is the value that understanding your product and looking at it from new perspectives can bring. Now let's talk about understanding the market. And I think I owe you guys a closure of the loop on the whole Japan coffee thing. So the gentleman on the left is the Frenchman. I will not attempt to state his name. I will send it in chat after I am done. It has R's in it, and French people pronounce R's in weird ways that I'm not going to try. But he said that the reason why there was no emotive connect to coffee was because coffee was not a part of Japanese culture. But that if you try to sell coffee to Japanese adults now, they will not understand what it is about, and they will not know the smell, they will not know the taste, they won't understand why they should be drinking it. So he made Nestle spend the next 10 to 15 years selling coffee flavored candy to Japanese children who were very willing to try chocolate or candy, especially in new flavors, because they were willing to try. Even adults would occasionally try the chocolate or candy looking at their kids. And 15 years from then, coffee consumption in Japan went through the roof, to the point that the first Starbucks that was ever built outside the United States was built in Japan. But one strange output of this was that coffee was not seen as a hot drink always, because they'd had it in candy form. And so their baseline for what coffee consumption was like was weird compared to the rest of the world. So today, the most commonly consumed form of coffee is not the cup that we think of, but those strange cans. Canned coffee is the largest selling SKU for caffeine in Japan, because for Japanese people, they didn't have the same journey to being coffee consumers as the rest of the world did. So you can see what impact good market research can have, sometimes unexpected, because I don't think Nestle benefited too greatly from this, because you can see some of the brands there. One of them is Boss. Boss is something that Suntory, the same people who make the Japanese whiskey, do. The can at the back is Georgia, which is Coca-Cola's product. Nestle has not been able to do as well in coffee sales, even though they were the ones who set it up for the rest of the world to take advantage of, because they were not able to make this last bit of the connect to their customer. But yeah, that is Nestle and the coffee story. So on use cases and segments, I'll hand it over to the ever capable Varun. Varun?
Thanks, Vipul. And I think one of the key insight even I got to know from Vipul only is, I think around 2014, Japan became third largest coffee importer, if I'm not wrong. Right, people?
Yeah. We just looked at this recently as well. I was also unaware that like coffee was a big deal in Japan.
Right. So thank you so much, Vipul. So now let's move on to use cases and segmentation. It is a very crucial part of market insight and research. But first, what are use cases? Let's simply put, use cases are scenarios in which product or service is used to achieve specific goals. As a marketeer, it will help us understand how and why users interact with our product. And by identifying this scenario, we can tailor our features to provide real value. Next, Vipul. I think since we are talking about Uber, let's take an Uber example. So when a user want to book a ride, so first a specific goal for Uber for any user is move from point A to point B. So when a user want to book a ride, they provide few key inputs. First one is about destination, that where I want to go. So you open the application, you will go to search bar and you will search for the destination. Second one, you will add your current location, either through just pinning the location, or sometimes you also need to type the location for more accuracy. Once you do it, and then they will show you what kind of services you want. So for example, whether you want Uber Go, Uber XL, or maybe Uber Moto as well, if you want to go via two-wheeler. Based on this input, what as an output Uber is showing us is number of vehicles nearby and allow us to book a ride instantly. So this is the evergreen example of catering to one use case specific to our goal, which is moving from point A to point B. But now question is, why do users turn to Uber? All right. So there are several common reasons. First one is definitely no personal vehicle available. So many of the users, they don't own a car, or they don't even have a two-wheeler. So that's why Uber becomes a reliable transportation option. Second one is no public transportation available. So for example, in areas which are very limited through public transportation, either they don't have a bus service or a metro service. In most of the, I think, tier 2 cities, Uber is a very convenient alternative. Third one is convenience. So now with Uber, users can get ride quickly without hassle of parking or waiting for a bus or any public transportation. So what even I have experienced during the weekend, specifically in Bangalore, you go to any mall, you will find so much of crowd, and in the parking line, you will see all the vehicles lined up, and it will take sometimes half an hour to park your car. So the better option could be go via Uber. You can go quickly. Next one is safety. So compared to any personal taxi that you are booking, what Uber is providing is they're already done through the all background checks of the drivers, and that is how any user will feel more secure booking Uber. There are so many features inside the application as well, which helps anyone, to be more secure. Next one is cost effectiveness. Sometimes, not all the times, but using Uber can be cheaper than owning your own car, or booking a private taxi. And last one is time saving. So Uber often provides a faster option compared to any other modes of transport. What I will give you example in the next slide. So these are the standard case of use cases. Now let's turn to segmentation. So to effectively market a product, it's essential to understand the different user segment. Basically, you have, let's say, pool of users, thousands of users with you. You have to segment them based on different characteristics. All right. So when we think about what kind of segmentation a Uber marketer would do, are as follows. First one would be commuters. These are daily travelers going to and from work. Okay, if I'm going office every single day, so I will definitely rely on Uber or any of these kind of service. So they will categorize them as a commuters who are using Uber on daily basis. Next one would be travelers. So this segment includes user heading to, let's say, from airport or bus station or railway station. They are coming into one city and now they want to move around. So they are the travelers, is the second category. Third one is, let's say, student. College and university student often need affordable and reliable transportation. Not so cheaper, but sometimes cheaper as well. So they might be more than relying upon Uber Go or Uber XL. They might be relying more upon Uber Moto, two-wheeler solution. Next category would be tourist. I think visitors who are exploring new city, they will definitely using Uber for their convenience and local knowledge. One good insight here is because of the Uber brand worldwide, any tourist who is coming, let's say into India as well, on the airport, first thing they will inquire is whether your city or country has Uber or not. Okay. Because of the brand presence of Uber in entire world, they will feel more secure in Uber compared to any other transportation mode. Next one would be occasional riders. These are the users who might need to write a specific for a special outings. You know, I think what people has done is he added a really good animation over here to show, and that's how even Uber started. So people who likes to drink occasionally, all right, they would not
Or
prefer
not
to
so
drive their
occasional.
own car. Not so occasionally as well, but when you are drunk, you would definitely not prefer to drive your own car. And for those people, Uber would be really good option, you know, from going from bar to home. Next one will be business professionals. So corporate users require dependable and efficient transportation for meetings and events. Whenever they want to go from one place to other to attend any meeting in different cities as well. So for them, Uber would be a really good option. And finally, one more segment which Uber is targeting is elderly users. So for older adults who prefer safety and convenience, Uber is the best option for them. So it will come to your doorstep. You no need to go out. You no need to go to that particular point where all other autos, auto walas and taxi walas, they usually stand. You don't need to go over there. With Uber, you can easily call them at your home. So for elderly people, it would be the best option. So to summarize, by understanding the specific use case and segment, Uber can tailor its service to meet diverse need effectively. Either, as we already discussed, if it is for elderly people to any drunk guy, through the proper segmentation, you can exactly reach out to them. And identifying and understanding our users' needs allow us to create solutions that truly resonate with them. Yeah, we can move to next slide. All right. Now let's talk about how understanding use cases and segmentation can drive value creation for both the businesses and customers. All right. Next. Again, taking example of Uber. First, let's look at the demand side. In Uber case, which is passengers. We already discussed what kind of use cases are there, what kind of segmentation. Now, with Uber, what Uber is creating the value, what value they are providing to specific of the segment. One is for passengers. So the first one is get rides wherever you are. All right. So as a passenger, if I'm sitting right now inside home, inside cafe, inside my office, I can quickly book an Uber and they will come to my current location, which enhance my convenience. I no need to go downstairs and find the autos or taxis, go to their spot. But with Uber, they will come to my doorstep. So wherever I am, they will come to me. Second one, reliable service availability. With rides always available, passengers can rely Uber for their transportation need. Now, even if it is any season, it is raining, maybe there will be some delay during the rain period, but even if it is raining any season, anywhere you are, you can rely on Uber that they will come. Because now you're not dependent on only, let's say, 5 to 10 auto wallahs who are standing near your house, but there is a large pool of drivers who are available at your service. Third one is personalized ride option. As I already mentioned, depending on what kind of users you are, what kind of segmentation you fall into, Uber are giving you choice. Yeah, today I want to go in Uber pool, all right, because I want to save some money. So I will do Uber pool with few other people so that I can save some money. If you are, let's say, living in cities like Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi for that matter, traffic is a huge issue. So if I am late for my office, I want to go quickly. Rather than going by Uber Go, I will choose Uber Moto. Two-wheeler, it will go very quickly through the traffic. So that is again one option that they are giving me. One more thing is, if let's say I'm going on a family outing where there are more people, they're also giving the option of Uber XL. That if you are 6, 7 people, instead of going in a two different cars, choose Uber XL. So now they are giving me personalized ride option. And finally, safe rides. As I already mentioned, they are already doing background checks of all the drivers, and they are making sure that your ride is can be tracked by other people of your family. So safe riding is something they are providing. Next one. All right. So as we spoke about the demand side, now let's spoke about the supply side. In Uber case, it is drivers. So again, just like a passenger who is getting the ride wherever they are, similar for drivers as well. Uber's platform reduces the waiting time for them, so they no need to sit on that crossroad waiting for people to come to them and start the ride. But now wherever they are, they will get the nearby people who are looking for the rides. This way, their ideal time, the time they were spending just sitting ideal, it is reducing. Because of this, second thing is happening is they have better earnings. By getting more ride requests near their location, driver can maximize their income. Third one is flexible working hours. With Uber, driver can switch easily turn off their application. It allows drivers to choose when they want to work. If someone want to take a break for 1 or 2 hours, just close your application and you won't get any request for the drive. Reduce idle time. So efficient passenger matching minimizes the downtime, helping drivers to stay productive. So as we already discussed, you are getting the drives nearby, so your idle time is definitely reducing. Some of the more values that they are creating is they're actually supporting and providing resource to the drivers. Drivers have access to all the tools and resources from the Uber team, through which they can improve their service and earnings as well. And at the same time, they are also providing safety and security to drivers as well, because it is very important on the passenger side to give them safety, but at the same time, drivers also need some kind of safety, safe work environment, which Uber is providing to them. So we already discussed about both the side, but there is one more side, that is business side. And understanding these use cases and segments also drives significant business values. Now Uber is doing all this. So now how it is helping Uber? First one is market penetration. So because now Uber can go to multiple countries, multiple cities, they are providing large option. They can easily go to any large market and address drivers' transportation needs. Sorry, passengers transportation needs. All right. Second one, it will definitely help business in terms of revenue growth. All right. Increasing demand, efficient supply, if you're providing, it will definitely generate the higher revenues for the business. One more thing is data-driven insight. One good thing with Uber is they are tracking every single thing. They are looking at what kind of users, what kind of decisions each and every user are making. Because of this, because of user behavior, they can optimize and give better services to everyone. And finally, brand recognition. Offering wide availability and reliable service, strengthening Uber's brand presence. As I already mentioned, because Uber is present in these many countries, whenever you are even visiting any new country, first option will come to your mind will be Uber. Okay, let's go by Uber. We are not sure that how a particular country's local transportation work or how this local, personal taxi or any other will treat us. Better to go with Uber. So to summarize this, understanding use case and segmentation helps Uber create immense value on both the supply and demand side. All these things happen because of they did immense user research and they've segmented their users perfectly. And this comprehensive approach is something we can all apply in our own product and services. Yes, we can move to next. Okay, now very, very interesting. We have done everything, but I think one very important thing which any of our manager or any business owner will ask is, for whom we are making, what is the market size, क्या धंधा बनेगा, वहाँ कितना potential है, so it is very, very important. Market sizing is crucial because it helps us estimate the potential revenue and the number of potential buyer for our product or service. Two simple things: get total revenue, how much we can do in particular, let's say segment, again particular region, anything we want to do, and how many potential buyers, ultimately how many potential users are there will be using our service. Next level will be definitely how many of them will be paying us. So how to do market research. Next one. Yeah, so there are two primary methods through which we'll be doing market research. One is bottom-up approach. Second one is top-down approach. First, let's talk about bottom-up approach. This method involves estimating the market size by calculating annual revenue per user, that is ARPU, So many people are also calling it ARPU. All right. So average annual revenue per users, and then you will calculate it with number of transaction and multiply it with by pricing. So let's take an example of again Uber. Okay. Imagine we are trying to size the market for Uber rides in one particular city. Okay. So how we will do it? So let's say that average user takes 100 Uber rides per year. Okay, that is how many number of transactions they will be doing. 100 rides per year they are doing. Second formula is pricing. Suppose let's take they are doing every Uber ride on an average is of $10. All right. So using this formula, if we calculate annual annual ARPU will be 100 rides multiplied by $10. It will be $1,000 per user per year. You will be getting. All right. So this will be annual average revenue per user. Next, we estimate the number of potential customer. Okay. Let's say that there are almost 5 lakh people in the city who will use Uber. Okay, this number is little vague, but let's just assume that there are 5 lakh people who will be using. So market size will be annual average revenue per user multiplied by number of potential customers. So simply 1,000 multiplied by 5 lakh, it is $500 million. Okay, so that is the potential about market sizing. All right. This bottom-up approach gives us a detailed and granular value of the total market. All right. Starting from the individual, we are picking every single individual, how much they will be spending on one particular platform, on one particular year, and then multiplying it by that how many potential customers we can achieve in that particular area. Second one will be top-down formula. This method estimates the market size starting from a broader perspective, and then we will narrow it down. So from top to down, we will narrow it. Okay. So there are three things you need to understand first. TAM, SAM, SOM. So TAM is total addressable market. SAM is serviceable addressable market, and SOM is serviceable obtainable market. So first one is TAM. So total demand of your product or service. Okay. That is TAM. We will take an example and I will give you more understanding in that. Second one is SAM. Particular portion of TAM targeted by your products and service, which is within your geographical reach, let's say, or by any other characteristic. And finally, SOM is the portion of your SAM that you can realistically capture. All right. People, now again, let's both of us go through it. I think Vipul has one really good example that he want to share with all of you.
So to be fair, this is a bit harsh, but the idea is that in our first session, and we can recap that, the idea was we identified that according to LinkedIn, there are about 6,000 people who currently have product marketing manager in their designation. We can assume that there is an equivalent number of people who are exploring product marketing, who are digital marketers, who are thinking about going in there, who are in go-to-market teams who want to explore product marketing. So let's assume that if you were selling product marketing focused education materials, then your total addressable market would be 12,000. Okay. Now we took, 25% of that and said, like roughly 20% of that, and we said these are the people who aren't already product marketers, are in the market to try to buy some educational material that would help. And so then we said, okay, so your serviceable addressable market of people who are willing to consider paying for or making effort to get PMM education would be 2,400. And then we assumed we are the product marketing alliance and that we're selling courses that are worth $3,000. And we figured that only 1% of people in India would be willing to pay that much because it's super expensive. So from that perspective, then from 2,400, you get 1%, that's 24. Now, obviously, this is made up on assumptions, but depending on the extent to which you know your product and know the choices people make, you can come up with what the percentages of this would be. The best way to do it would be, we already have around 60 product marketers or people from the TAM and SAM in this room. If I was the product marketing alliance, I'd want to give you a survey to get your sense of what you're willing to pay. And based on whether your willingness to pay hits my absurd $3,000 course cost mark or whatever it is, I would know therefore whether you are part of my SOM and where you fall within my SAM as well, right? So the idea is that if you are able to identify your TAM and what are the levers or proxies you can use to figure out your SAM and SOM accordingly, that is all you need to come up with this perspective. And the minute you talk in this funnel kind of view to a leader at any sort of company, you can tell them what the size of price is and what the opportunity is. Ajay and I were talking about this in chat earlier, and he was like, how do we figure out what is the right opportunity to chase for? But if you can back up your TAM, SAM, SOM, you can back up what those assumptions are. You can have that conversation with the leaders in your company saying, we should be building X for Y. Because of Y, this is the TAM, this is how many people might be willing to pay, right? Like if I was trying to have an argument about building Uber, that's one of the ways I would do it, right? I'd go to a product person and say, hey, if we can build a cool app that will allow cabs to come to me, this is the total cab industry. These are the number of people who book cabs who have smartphones at that time. And these are the ones who would be willing to pay. I would have a TAM, SAM, SOM, so I could have a conversation with them about asking them to invest that money and time in building something new. So that's how TAM, SAM, SOM is ideally used.
Thanks, Vipul. All right. So, just a second.
Varun, could you go over TAM, SAM, SOM again? Sabhyata just wanted it explained once more, please.
Sorry, about what?
Can we go through TAM, SAM, SOM again? Can you just use another example and do it? Like you can use diapers. Okay, you mind if I take a minute to do it?
Sure, sure.
So if we consider, for example, diapers, okay? Now your TAM would literally be the number of babies that are being born in a country in a year, because nobody else, okay, I mean, let's not get into elderly care diapers. Let's focus on baby diapers for now. So you would have a very specific set of people and you'd have a very clear understanding of your TAM, right? And so you can see now the resources bit is up. You will be able to find based on, birth rate, death rate, population growth, all of that. You should easily be able to come up with a number that these many babies are being born in your country or in a geography in a particular year, correct? And once you have that number, that is your TAM. Now your SOM would be based on what it is you're selling and the price point of it. Now that could be something super expensive, like you could be selling a cool diaper with an, I don't know, LED screen on it. So while you're changing it, you're getting to watch your favorite show. I don't know. But if you're doing that, then your SAM would become the people who are so desperate for entertainment at the time that they're changing diapers that they get to see something while that's happening, right? So that's how you would come up with your SAM, and your SOM would be the people who are willing to pay. You can use this for everything. So for Kellogg's, the TAM, SAM, SOM would be everyone in India who has a breakfast, which would be like some billion plus, because I hope most of us get to eat breakfast. It's a good thing, right? Your SAM would be the people who are willing to give up on parathas and eat whatever wheat flakes and stuff. And your SOM would be the people who are willing to pay for that Kellogg's box of cereal, right? So that's how you come up with TAM, SAM, SOM. Sabita, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, and Sharad, you're absolutely right. Like this is, please understand your TAM, SAM, SOM will never be perfectly accurate. It is not meant to be. It is meant to be an estimation for you to understand in which direction you should be going and what you should be focusing on. Nothing more, nothing less. If anyone keeps saying that no, there will be this difference, that difference, you should assume that you are at least 5% to 10% off. You are never going to be perfectly accurate. That is not the ask, that is not the expectation. So Bani, sorry, there was a question. I'm sorry, this is happening a lot. Varun, why don't you go ahead? I'll do this in chat.
Okay, sure. Definitely, folks, in the Q&A also, we'll try to make sure that we are answering each and every question. And finally, how to, yeah, just a second. How to find all this data. So all this data which people are talking about and I was talking about is not in the public domain sometimes. So you will need to go through these few of the resources that we have listed. There is a website called Statista, which will provide you detailed numbers about each and every segment. So for example, if you want to just check that how many number of subscriber does Netflix have in India, not people who are using password of their NRI friend, but how many people who have actually subscribed from India, you will get all kind of details from this website. Second is definitely go through Wikipedia, and it will not be very straightforward where you are just asking that, hey, tell me how many number of people, but you need to go through different articles. Third one is government states. So there are few of the website. One of the website is IDEF. Over there, you will find so many of the reports which government usually publish. It will be around just an example about imports and export. They will provide you detail overview that in particular month, in particular quarter, what kind of imports we as a country we did, what kind of export we have did, how many new internet users we have added. Right? All these things you can get from the government data as well. You also need to go through some industry report, market studies, and news articles as well. So these are all the resources through which you can get the data. As people already mentioned, it won't be very straightforward. You need to combine few of the different studies, and then you will come to the number. And yes, it won't be so accurate, but you have to determine few of the things through that. Can we go to the next slide, people? Next one. Next one. Yes. All right. So we already went through understanding the product and understanding the market. Now let's delve into understanding our competitors, which is very important for any market research. So over here, let me share a personal example with you. I think Vipul, this animation again was done by Vipul. He prominently want to show that me. So it's a very personal story about my first startup that we did. The company's name was Icon Scout. So the platform basically was providing ready-to-use icon illustration, 3D assets, and Lottie animation to our user. When we start our journey, it began with a very simple but the powerful idea. You want to provide high quality and ready-to-use assets to creators all over the world. Right? It was very simple that you just come onto our website, search for something. We will make sure that it is of high quality, maintain all the design standards, and at the same time, you can easily use it. Right? What I mean by easily use, I will come to later. As a market entry, when we first entered, we identify few of the key insights. One was definitely about huge amount of these assets ready to use, and at the same time, many designers specifically, that was the first user segment we went after. They need all these assets without spending hours in creating it, and most importantly, they should be easy to access. All right. Our strategic move first was we can't create all the assets. All right. One thing is on the marketplace, you have to provide them wide range of options. So we won't be able to create all the assets on our own. So that's why we went after the community-driven content model, where we onboarded so many of the designers on our platform. They will upload their designs, and there will be revenue share between us. Okay, so for example, certain amount will go to designers on each set, and certain amount will come to us. And we encourage all our designers to make sure that they are creating a vast library of assets. So this was our main idea, that community-driven assets will be first, and then we will make sure that we are providing easy accessibility to our users. So one thing that we started doing was we started partnering with most of the design tools at that time available. So let's say likes of Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Sketch was one of the tools, and Figma. We partnered with them, all right, and created one niche area about Icon Scout plugin, which makes sure that user have easy accessibility and they can easily edit the design as well. All right. Today, Icon Scout has, I think, more than 8.9 million 8.9 million assets with us. And specific thing, which is Icon Scout plugin, we will come to the number later. Yeah, we can go to next slide.
But before we do that, I just want to point out that both the wine glasses clinking icon and this rotating circle to focus on Varun is from Icon Scout itself. So we're seeing the product in action.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's dive into how to identify the competitors. It involves everything. Your competitor to understand their strengths, weaknesses, what are the strategies, and what are the market positions they have. This knowledge helped us in what kind of priority and what kind of opportunities are there, and based on that, we have created our unique space in the market. Next. Yeah. So when we think about how to derive the right competitors, it is also very important that you are looking at the right competitors. All right. So there are three kind of competitors. One will be direct competitors. So in specific to the example of Icon Scout, for us at that time, it was likes of Icon Finder and Noun project who are providing the exact service that we were also providing. It was about providing icons to their users. Second one was about indirect competitors. So there were likes of Shutterstock and Getty Images who were providing what we were providing, but at the same time, they were also providing stock images, stock footages, editorial images and everything. So those were our indirect competitors. And third one would be, potential competitors. So these are emerging companies that might enter into our market or space in the future. So I'm talking about 2016. There at that time it was not so much of AI and mid-journey kind of thing. But now when I look back, mid-journey would be our potential competitors. In which you are just giving some prompt uh, to the tool, and they are creating those images for you. Those were not directly to you. So, for example, if you are searching for any assets and it is not providing you the asset, but instead they are asking you for more personalized information, like what kind of stroke or what kind of imaginary you want in the background. So all these tools were our potential customers. Now, how to do this competitor analysis? We understand that there are three kinds of competitors. Now, from where you will get the information about this? So there are a few of the market research techniques that you need to do. One is user surveys and industry reports to gather data on your competitors. This will help in understanding the market landscape and where we stand compared to them. All right. So there are few of the SEO tools also that will help you. Platform like SimilarWeb, SEMrush, that can help analyze your competitors' online presence and what kind of traffic source from where they are acquiring the user. There are so many B2B listing sites as well. For example, G2 and Product Hunt. They also provide insights into competitor products, and specifically these insights over there, you will also see so many of the user reviews. So through that, you can actually pinpoint that okay, this users who are happy, they're happy about some of the features. But you also can look exactly for those users who have complained about few things on the platform itself. About those platforms. So all these through this platform, you can go through the user review, and then you will get this information. Then there is some enterprise software as well, like Gartner and Forrester. They're excellent in understanding enterprise level competitors. For us, let's say if we are in the B2B space specifically, all these tools will definitely help you more. And nowadays, so AI-driven competitive intelligence are also there. So for example, if you are providing right prompt to ChatGPT, they will also give you really good insights into it. And there are so many other tools available as well. So many of these have built on top of ChatGPT as well. So you can use those tools as well to gather this information. One more thing we should be doing is gathering the customer feedback. So gather insights from current as well as potential customer and understand their experience. And then based on that, you can do some kind of SWOT analysis. All right, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the threats lined up with your competitors. All right. Just a second now, the screen frozen. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're audible,
Someone
Varun. What happened?
Okay. Yeah, my screen was frozen. So, all right. So based on all this information, all the competitor analysis we went through, the next phase would be what are the differentiators. So basically, what your competitors are doing, but what you need to do, to stand apart. And these differentiators can be about variety of things, right? For example, what kind of quality you are providing, innovation, or customer service. Maybe your pricing is much better than your competitor, or your design, speed, sustainability, customization you are providing, any convenience you are doing, or exclusivity or performance. All these are different parameters through which you can finalize what would be your differentiator. Can we go next? Okay, one more time. Yes. So now, specifically, if we take example of Icon Scout, we find differentiator through different techniques. The majority of the one we use was customer feedback and competitive analysis. Okay? There are a few like SWOT analysis that we already discussed and market research through which you will get the idea that where you are and where your competitors are. So one good insight we got was the previous flow. with any designer was, they will go to the likes of Icon Finder or Shutterstock. They will search for any asset. They will get the asset, few different options. They will download the asset, and then in any of the tool which they are using, they have to import the asset. So for example, if you are using Adobe Illustrator, you need to import the assets into that. Now we thought, how about we make user access these design tools much easier? That's when we went after Icon Scouts plugin. Right. So this is basic integration, which Vipul was recently just talking about. So in slide, what Vipul did was, in Google Slide itself, he opened the Icon Scout plugin, which look like the window which we have shown in the right side. You will search for any asset over here. You will get that icon, that animation or illustration or 3D. You just drag and drop, and that is done. Okay. So this was our differentiator, that we will focus more on plugin rather than providing the web experience. Web experience was already there. We were already getting so many of users, but the differentiator really was our plugin. And that's when we partnered with the likes of Adobe. With Adobe Illustrator, we did the plugin for Photoshop. Adobe XD was the new tool. We created plugin for them as well. We created plugin for Microsoft Office, G Suite. Then Figma was new in the market. Currently, we have plugin for Canva as well. You know, and all these millions of assets, which are icon illustration 3D assets, you can directly access inside this tool. So this way, the biggest advantage was productivity was increased. You know, easy search, easy insertion. You don't need to go through multiple websites. Just open the plugin. That's it. One more thing we understand while we were talking to user was, so many of the designers were already using our plugin, but the real people who were paying us was the marketeers and salespeople who were creating this presentation decks day in, day out. So one thing they told us was, we will definitely pay you for these icons, but the problem is your icons are with this black border, you know, but my brand guideline want ki border should be blue. Then what I can do? Because I don't have any design knowledge, I can't edit it very easily. So provide me a solution for that. So we gave them easy editor inside the plugin itself. You just open the icon, click on edit color, change the color, and then insert, you know. So because of this, the customization for everyone becomes way easier. Even if you're designer, not designers, very easy customization. And ultimately, the user experience, all right. As you can see on the right hand side, the entire user interface is very easy to use, and it streamlined your workflow, you know. We can go to next. Yes. So now this is how we find out our differentiator. But now we also have to recognize this threat. What are the external factors negatively can impact our business performance and ultimately our profitability? So there are four different types of threats available. One is competitive threats, then there is market threats, technological threats, and regulatory threats. Right? I'm taking Icon Scout example again. Right? Yeah. Before that, how to identify these threats? Again, by doing the SWOT analysis. All right. What are the strengths, weaknesses, and the opportunities and threats through which you will get this data. Also look at the industry trend. All right, what is happening currently in the industry? So one example I gave was about AI. AI was not that prominent at that point of time, but nowadays AI would be very big threat to any of these existing marketplace. And third one is scenario planning. Assess potential future events and their impact. Okay, one of again is AI only. All right, so that how through AI this entire market will be changed. So that was the third one. Can we go to next? Yeah. On each one, let's say first is competitive threat. So if we are creating the plugin, if we are providing the integration, our competitors can also do the same. All right. So we have to be always up the game. How we can make sure that our plugin is more reliable, providing more features than our competitors. Second one is market threats. So I think you might have heard about all these other companies called Unsplash, Pixels, all those people who are providing, and flat icons, free icons, all those people who are providing all this resource for free. You know, so that was the market shift also happening, where people mostly relying upon these free assets. Third one is technology threat. As we already discussed, AI generated design, all the mid journeys of the market, all the other tools as well, which will be your biggest threat in terms of technology. And fourth one will be regularity threats. So basically, every single assets you will see on Icon Scout or any other platform, there are certain kind of regularity clause attached to it, that how you can use it, what kind of license you are getting. And if, let's say, government is making some kind of IP changes, and now suddenly you have to adhere to it, and if you are not providing those kind of licenses, you may be out of the business. So the last one is regularity threats. Can we go to next? Yes. So doing all this, doing competitor research, how we get the differentiator. After the launch, we have total 8.9 million design assets on Icon Scout platform. As I already mentioned, it was an entire community-driven platform where most of the designers were creating and uploading assets on our platform. And specifically about plugin, we have more than 2.5 million users across all these plugins, which includes likes of Figma, Canva, Google, Microsoft, and all those people. So ultimately, this was the Icon Scout story about how we learned about our competitors, how we identified the right competitors, and how we created the differentiator, which ultimately helped us in standing out in the market. And yeah, at the end, it also helped us in getting our company acquired as well. Yes, I think that we can go to next slide.
Okay, so now we have to move into the exercise. So folks, this is going to take some explanation first. So like we discussed, we went through a lot of different things that you can do from a business point of view to showcase what kind of opportunity to go after and how to go about it. But the first thing you have to kind of have some expectation of is understanding the market from the perspective of the things that we've covered. First, starting with pain points, then moving on to use cases, talking about segments, talking about solution states. So what we've done is we've put together an exercise so that people can understand how to do it. To begin with, we'll first show you one version of this that we've done for Uber, and we'll take you through that document so that you can see and understand what it is that we're expecting from you, and then we'll ask you to do that for Swiggy. Okay, so hold on, I'm just going to share my screen. Just let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, it's visible.
Great, I'll just zoom in a little. Right. So for Uber, like have been discussing, right? What are the pain points for drivers? It was finding customers, because in the pre-Uber universe, you would basically have these taxi stations or places where taxi cabs would congregate. And so if you were a distance from there, first they would have to figure out where you're calling from and come pick you up. Then they'd have to take you to some other destination. And then they... Naina, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. So like I was saying, the finding customers was also a problem, right? Because they would probably usually get a phone call and they would be expected to turn up at a doorstep to pick up someone, but they wouldn't necessarily be able to navigate to there. So that's one pain point Uber solved for. The next one is traveling to and fro the customer location. That's what I was describing. That at that point you wouldn't get a customer where you were. So you would end up congregating at some place where you're having chai and like shooting the breeze with other cab drivers and stuff. But what that meant was an inefficiency that was built into it, because the customer was expected to pay for you to travel to where they had to be picked up, then pay for you commuting and taking them to where they had to go, and then coming back to wherever you had to go to. So you had to pay for 3 journey legs instead of just one. And that was also a pain point, right? Then, like I said, navigating to the customer, locating the destination, estimating the time and effort it takes, and then collecting money from the customer. These were the pain points that Uber solved for drivers. Similarly, for customers, it was like finding cabs, finding drivers. This is still a problem in Bangalore, particularly when it rains or at peak hour. Then real-time booking, like quick, fast supply. Like you don't have to call someone up 4-5 hours before travel and say, "Bhaiya, please send cab at this location at this time." None of that. You are able to book quickly through an app. The ability to share location in a kind of secured setting to people so that they can come pick you up. You don't have to worry about describing the end location. It's all being geo navigated. You know the cost beforehand, right? And payments also become easier. Similarly, there is the solution states where you could walk or cycle, but the problem there was physical effort, slow commute. You couldn't walk or cycle across a city. You could use public transport, but if anyone's used Delhi Metro during peak hours, you know that it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. That last mile connectivity is also a problem from getting from your station to the endpoint. You could do taxi or auto, but all of the problems you've identified would apply to those modes of transport, right? Hailing a taxi or an auto, negotiating with them on prices, trust because you don't know what route they're taking. Then your own car is also an option, but the cost, effort to drive, limitation on drinking, parking, etc. are problems. And car rental also has issues because you'll need to plan, it'll be expensive, and there'll be effort and hassle. Use cases, as we discussed, would be daily travel to and fro from work or college or school, airport, intercity or tourist travel, outings or parties, corporate travel to meetings, or a use case could just be you don't know how to drive. So you need somewhere to get from point A to point B, and Uber is a good way to do it. Target segments are commuters and employees, tourists or travelers, students, socializers, professionals, and elderly users. And here are the value created. This is pretty much the same thing that we saw in the deck. So not much change there. And here are some competitions. I think we ended up talking about this at the early part when we were talking about the pain points. So you have Ola, you have Rapido, you have Namma Yatri. Now you have Blue Smart and Chauffeur. You also have Meru, like the old school kind of competitor. And the threats, compliance, because there continues to be some friction with city authorities on what the status is. Then there is employment of whether a Uber driver is an employee or not. Then there are driver unions like you've seen with Namma Yatri with autos. Then you have self-driving cars, which are a long-term threat. Like eventually the Uber model doesn't work in the way it currently does because you just have a self-driving car, so the whole alcohol use case, effort, etc. goes off. Then better public transport should be a threat, but probably won't be. Bangalore traffic is also a threat, but there's nothing anyone can do about that. And then environmental concerns. And you can see with Blue Smart that they're using the electric vehicles to kind of deal with that. And Uber is responding to that kind of threat with stuff like, Uber has its Uber Green. So sometimes when you book an Uber cab, it will be an electric vehicle that turns up. So they are also working to transform their fleet into an EV fleet. So they're trying to respond to the threat that way. But what we're doing now is that Varun has been, at this point, I hope, patiently figuring out the breakout rooms. We have documents like this that have been created for up to like
Yes.
several groups. We will, so you can see that one person from the group would have gotten the message from Varun with a link to this document. You will be asked, and there'll be 6 people in a group. Please put your name and email address in the top of the document, and please note down the pain point, solution states, and all of these for Swiggy, the same way we did for Uber. The end point of this is that the reason why we want the name and the email address also is so that we can look at what you have done and give you feedback after the session. At the end of the session, we'll ask one group each to maybe talk about what pain points, what solution states, etc., so we can have a conversation around it. But we won't be able to go through all the groups, and we won't be able to go through everything. But what we'll do is, after the session, Varun and I will sit. We will then look for what work you all 6 of you have put into one particular group document, and we will share that back to you with comments and feedback, so that you also have a sense on whether you were able to adequately capture these aspects or not. Okay. So, Varun, where are we at? Have you
Yes.
managed to? Yeah.
Yes, I have shared the document link with one person each in the team. All right. Now there are 8 different breakout rooms. All right. There will be 4 to 5 people in each of the breakout room. So go inside. First, as already mentioned, add your name and email address, and then start discussing among. Okay. You will get 10-15 minutes. After that, we will close the breakout room. Any question? Any of you?
No, just that people are running away because there is effort involved. Anyway, yeah.
Uh, Vipul or Varun, can you just like move us into each of the breakout rooms because I don't see any options right here.
No, I will do it. I will do it because
Yeah,
once I
please.
will move you into the breakout room, then you won't be able to ask the question. That is why I'm asking. If you have any questions right
Uh,
now,
mhm. It's an
cool.
awesome exercise.
So
Would love to do it.
cool. So I hope all of you got the doc. At least one person for the team got it. So please open it and start editing. Cool, everyone? All right. So you got 10 minutes. After that, we will broadcast the message that let's come back and then we will conclude the exercise. Right. So I'm opening all the rooms. Ajay, Shuchi, Jubraj, have you got the notification to join the breakout room? Aditi, Raghav, Parul. Parul, you're on mute if you are saying something. Raghav, Shuchi, do you guys need any help?
Hi, Varun.
Yeah, you're back. There was no option of keeping you out.
No,
So I
that's
have to
okay.
send you in one.
We have some folks who are leaving the breakout rooms
Okay.
or who have not been put into breakout rooms yet.
So
Yeah,
I was just asking.
Vipul, Varun, the Ajay from room 4, none of us had got the link of the document.
I'm just DMing
Okay.
it to you.
Yeah,
I'll
just
take care
DM
of
me.
it.
I'll yeah, and just shift me back. I'll
For room I've
Sent,
sent to
Mucha.
someone, but they must have left
got it.
Yeah.
meeting itself.
Vikrant, did
Happens,
you not
happens.
get the document? Hey, Vikrant, you there? Okay,
So
we
now
have
I'm
you.
going to each different room just to ask them that whether they have got the document or not.
Room 1 को भी नहीं मिला था, मैंने वहीं पे कर दिया.
WhatsApp.
But it is different documents, Parul. It is not
Vikrant hasn't
single
got
one
the.
for everyone.
Oh,
Vikrant is which room?
it's different for everyone.
Vikrant. Vikrant, room 7. Are you sending him?
I'll send it. Room 7 is. Or he's not in the meeting anymore.
Let me join there. I will go there.
You joined room 7. Should I send it to you? The
No,
link?
no. I have it open.
Cool. And after that, you have to tell me which room Muskan is in.
Muskan is a 7 only.
Acha, haan.
Room 7 done. We go to one by one.
I did the very smart thing of not giving edit access. I'm doing that.
Oh,
Till
room
which
3.
group? Group 7 tak na?
Room 3 also haven't got. Let me go there. इनको दे दिया। रूम 2 में 2 ही लोग हैं।
Can you broadcast a message and say that edit access has been changed, so please refresh and start working on it? And that if you still haven't gotten the document, to phir bahar aa jao and let us know. Thanks, yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
No, yeah, it happens. Okay, going to room number 1. First,
Parul, is Varun talking to someone?
Hey, Pulkit, you came out by mistake or?
You're muted, man. Can't hear you.
I was joining from my laptop. Can you make me join group 5?
Okay, let me add. Room 5, right?
Yeah.
Did we get the notification? Cool. Hey, Vipul.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm saying, what is the time right now? Since when they are inside the breakout room?
I have no idea, dude. Don't we have like a timer or something?
No, we haven't had. Hey,
ठीक है
Pranay.
I'll see when the share request came in. Give me a second. उससे पता लग जाएगा. 12:55 से हो गया भाई. बंद करो.
It's almost 15 minutes, right?
Hmm.
I'm just broadcasting the message. We are closing in 2 minutes. Hey, Pranay, we are not able to hear you clearly.
No, he texted and said he's facing some issues and he's trying to join from his phone. Pranay, which room were you in? Varun, can you put Pranay in break room 7, please?
Okay. I think so many people I've seen they've created their own document.
I know. I haven't seen too many, but ठीक है ना? It makes sense.
Yeah, that is fine.
I don't think we'll have time to do the poll or anything, so we'll just tell them we'll do the poll on WhatsApp.
Yes.
I think we'll just ask for questions and feedback and bounce. और questions भी वो जो आपने लिखे हुए थे ना, वो slide पे ही नहीं जाते. Just let's leave it. Let's ask them to ask if anyone's there, because I think the people who ask the questions might not be there anymore.
She is not here. I remember her name.
Kavya Kavi.
Kavya Kavi. ये थोड़ा chaotic तो है.
And for this recording, we'll definitely have to download it and edit it, because there's a lot of dead time in the beginning.
Oh yes.
Including our bet and everything. तो वो तो नहीं दिखाते.
In that case, we can edit and put it on YouTube directly. This time, let's try that as well. In the channel, first upload is a private listed.
But I was really hoping that the first upload would be our reaction to that what is PMM thing. But we can figure that.
Yeah, it will be public upload. This still can be private upload. Alright, should I close all the rooms now?
Yes, please.
All participants will be returned to the main session in 60 seconds. So now timer will be started.
We're
Yes,
ready.
we'll ask them. Yeah, we'll just ask them how was the experience. Juvaraj is already here. Hey Deepali.
I answer.
Hey, hi guys.
Is the exercise over or timing was over?
Yeah. That's yeah. This is a great exercise. Thank you.
But do you think this 10 to 15 minutes makes sense, or do you guys need more than that?
We were pretty much finished, or at least, maybe if we could probably think of some more stuff. But yeah, it's good enough time, I guess.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, some people have finished 1/4 and they're saying so on the chat. So I think we'll have to figure out a median based on the documents later, Varun. Abhi variation between different groups, I guess. There we go. Hi, everyone.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. How was the experience, guys?
Excellent.
Scary.
Good.
Good.
Sorry?
It was good.
Getting
Achha tha.
started. We
You're
couldn't
getting
complete.
started.
Repetitive points
You
were
could
coming in mind,
you could
but
have given us 5 minutes more. It's okay, but
I agree.
No, but look, when you have to compete with finishing an exercise and lunch, after already ruining your Saturday morning, I will err on the side of lunch. But yeah, fair enough. I think we can figure out how to do this later. But thank you all so much for this. As you can see, we had more elaborate plans for the other end of this, but since it's gotten late and timing is getting out of hand, what we I think do is for all of you who have filled up the documents, we will reach out back to you. We will let you give you feedback on your documents. So just bear with us. We will also send an email with a complete session recording as well as other resources. One of the good things that we found was Apple's Lisa 2. There was a marketing requirements document which is like a 200-page kind of thing about different aspects of market research done prior to, like, someone typed it out on a typewriter. So we thought that would be a wonderful addition to these things so that you could get a sense of how thoroughly researched successful products are. So we'll share that with you at the end of this. Okay, so that's on the resource and recording. Next webinar, we will send out a poll on WhatsApp to ask you. We were also kind of running an internal experiment on whether we should be doing this on weekdays at night or weekends in the morning. And so we'll ask everyone on WhatsApp what days make sense. We have 4 options for the next session. Whatever is more convenient for folks based on the poll, we'll do it according to that. Exercise feedback, like I said, we'll share with you afterwards. WhatsApp community ka kya tha, Varun?
I think if any of you still haven't joined the WhatsApp community, let me share the link here. Just want to make sure that you are already part of it. So all the announcement will be much easier for us. Here you go. I shared the link in the chat. So if you haven't joined the community, there are already more than 250 members are there. So please do join and let's have a good conversation over there. Office hours will be best for the next session.
Amritanshu is one of the people who's applied for the cash-free role. So it's an important thing to know that office hours are when he prefers to have GoPMM session. Anyhow, folks, so just wanted to, if there's anyone who has any questions, any feedback about the session, we can take 5 more minutes on that and then we'll let you folks go first. Please raise your hand and let us know if anyone has any questions or thoughts. Yeah, Amritanshu, go ahead.
am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. So I just wanted to understand from Varun and Mukul, both of you, like when you start working on a new feature, in terms of, like, I work on a SaaS product. Now, is it something which I need to take the initiative as a PMM, or will it come from the product team? Because that is a very big confusion which even I am trying to sort out, because in my company, as we are very small, I take the initiatives from feature designing to what the feature will be, what the inside I'll give it to, and for whom I am designing. But in terms of your experience, as you have much elevated in this part, how do you take it ahead? So I just wanted to understand.
Varun, do you want to do this or should I?
Yeah, I will start. So basically, Amritanshu, I was in the same boat like you when having own startup. So we had very small team, So it was always not predefined at that point of time that we will come up with new feature request. It is always like, okay, what can make some more money, at the end of the day, and what makes sense for us at that point of time, whether we can do it or not. Once you come up with any feature request, it will definitely go through different teams anyhow. For example, with tech, whether we have bandwidth or not, with other teams as well, design team, in which sprint they can pick up, and all those things, all those discussions will be there. So specifically in that case, we had no any boundary, or so to say, anyone predefined that you only have to come up with the ideas for new features. But here in cash free, it is little different, because as far as I can talk about my international payment fleet, people will definitely might have different experience with his collection suite. But for international right now, yes, most of the features are coming from product team. But at the same time, when we are doing competitor research, you know, we will also tell them that these are the features whichever competitors are doing, they're excelling. In payment space, there is so much of regulation, everything is also coming to place, but we are also suggesting them. So I don't think there should be any such scenario where anyone should be predefined that only you can come up with idea of the new feature. At the end of the day, it is the mutual discussion with your team that whether this particular feature makes sense for us or not, what kind of regulation, any boundaries as such are there. And then I think at the end of the day, you will, along with your team, will make the decision.
Understood, Varun. Thanks for the explanation. I think I'm clear here.
And just to add, Amritanshu, I think a lot of it is filling up gaps. If the product team has done a good job doing their research, then you use that to figure out your endpoints, right? Of what should the messaging be? What are the competitors' features? How should I position it? If they haven't done it, then you need to do that. Like, you have to focus on your work. Like, I end up relying a lot on product work when they've done a good job. When they haven't, then we fill up the gap.
Thank you. Thank you for the insights, Vipul.
Any other questions, folks?
Yeah, hi, Vipul, Varun, our room, like our teammates and me as well, got stuck on the solution states parts. Can you just give us a small recap of what the solution states are? What do they look like?
Fair. So Ajay, let's begin with. Varun, did you want to take this? Sorry, you have that expected.
No, please go ahead.
So I think you begin with the idea of, firstly, your product is trying to solve a problem, correct? And so when you're thinking about the persona, then how are they solving the problem currently? What are the suboptimal end states and options that they have? And why is your option better? So a solution state, for example, for Swiggy would be, if I'm hungry, my solution states would potentially be cook, order via phone, right? Eat packaged food. So, those are solution states where it's suboptimal because you don't necessarily get the full benefits, but people are achieving some outcome which goes some distance towards satisfying that unmet need. But the solution state is useful to figure out कि तुम क्या बेहतर कर सकते हो.
Okay, basically what we are actually impacting at its core.
Yeah.
Right. The behavior at the end.
Yes, that's precisely it.
Cool.
Thanks. Aishwarya?
Hi, it's not a doubt kind of a thing, but it's a request. See, like Vipul, I've also transitioned from a digital marketing performance space to product marketing space. Now, the thing is, I work in not so a startup, it's a 30-member team. However, we are like a product marketing team. The struggle that I'm having is I'm not able to find out that full journey of what from the product launch to that end thing. I really don't have that flow. What happens after this, or what I should do as a PMM next. So I did try to learn from a lot of blogs and YouTubers and everything, but still I'm not able to understand how things are done in India primarily. Because the things that happens in US and UK are very different, where people are not able to adopt those things here. And I struggle with that a lot to understand what is the next thing that I have to do as a PMM. So it would be great if you guys could go through or conduct a separate webinar, which would be very great to understand that whole journey from where it starts to where it ends. So that's actually a request from my end.
Specifically talking about GTM strategy, Ishwarya?
More like it, yes. See, GTM as a separate thing, or I want to know that end-to-end process of an API. To be frank, I can't like pinpoint. It's like messaging or the GTM or the sales enablement. I don't know because it comes everything with it. No, it's all interconnected. I'm not able to find what is the right path that I need to take. I understand that there are multiple, but just give me a heads up on how it looks actually. Maybe you can take an example and go through that. From step 1 you have to go to step 2. If there is any hiccups, you have to do this. Some guidance on it would be great. Since I transition, this is like a biggest problem, and I thought like can reach out to you guys for that.
Sure, Aishwarya. I think currently, at least in our team, we are trying to solve the ABM problem. I've been having conversations with Omkar Yedari on exactly this, on different approaches
Okay.
to use LinkedIn to reach out
Okay.
to high value target accounts and get responses from them. Because I think
Okay.
nobody likes being sold to. And so
Hmm.
the balance of being able to talk to people, get them to start a conversation, convey some value, and then get them to buy, that journey is quite complicated. And it usually falls somewhere in the middle of that. What I'll do is, you're right, we can, in part of the revenue growth and strategy session, which is 2 sessions from
Fourth
now,
one. Yeah.
we'll cover ABM also as a piece. We can talk about India specific learnings that Varun and I have had in that space. I will probably
Okay.
bother Omkar because he's also done that for outside India, from India. So
Okay.
we'll put those
Okay.
insights together and share something with you. I hope that
Thank
helps.
you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If you're
Okay.
out of question, you guys can also give us feedback. Let's
Yeah.
see one or two. Yeah. Anything specific you want us to do? We know that breakout room was something we were trying for the first time, so little bit of hiccups over there. We'll make sure next webinar we'll come better prepared. But any other feedback you guys, if you want to give us. So quiet now. I think people are hungry now.
Yeah, I think so. I'm hungry for sure. But I think there was the two things that I've gotten questions on the chat. One is about B2B examples of software companies using product marketing. So I think earlier on the WhatsApp chat, Gopal had shared that McKinsey report, which says that some of the top software companies in India, like in the world today, are using product marketing, and then given some examples of it there. Ajay, separately, I'll pick out a few and share it with you. But broadly speaking, Apple is one of the pioneers in it. Meta is one of the pioneers in it. The FANG companies all have strong product marketing arms, and then there are lots of other examples of it as well. But I'll share that with you. Uh, the other thing I have is, there is a question on, will you be answering questions on transitioning to PMM roles? So on transitioning to PMM roles, every Monday, we will share a list of PMM job opportunities for everyone. Right now, we're really focused on getting these 4 sessions out of the way. After that, we'll probably work with you guys to maybe have special sessions for those who are looking to transition. We can have, Varun and I have been talking about this. Maybe we can have resume review sessions, interview prep sessions, and stuff like that. But as of right now, uh, our plates are full with thoughts of lunch and with the sessions for now. But we'll come around to it as soon as we can.
Just to add on to what people suggested, we were also trying. We will try to get some industry leaders as well, who are actually hiring for this kind of roles, and what exactly they are looking for in any candidate. So we are trying that, but I think as people suggested, once we are done with these other 2 sessions, then we will definitely do it.
Amaya has a question, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I know I'm taking a lot of time.
No, please go.
It's basically a follow-up question on the bottom-up and top-down method. So in the chat box, person asked like, how do you find the number of potential customers in the bottom-up method without applying the TAM, SAM, SOM method? So are these two methods correlated to each other? And if so, then do we need to do the bottom-up method in order to see how the top-down methods work?
Do you want to take that, Varun? Should I?
People, you can take it. Just a second.
No, so Amaya, what you're looking for is an answer to a question on the number of prospective buyers for something, right? Now, if I were to like think of the people who are taking out Tesla, they're launching Tesla in India. They will eventually, I think there's already some conversation about manufacturing it in India, but Elon Musk gave hearth and went off to China. That's a separate story. But at some point, if Tesla launches in India, the question they will want to ask is how many people are willing to pay for this kind of vehicle. And they'll have a bottom up and a top down approach to come to that answer, or they'll use a mixture of both. I think the idea is, what is the best way you feel that you should get to the answer? Sometimes you'll have to focus on one, sometimes you'll have to focus on the other. and you have to figure out what makes sense for you and what is the level of accuracy or precision you need in that answer. For example, if I'm selling a B2C product, right, then I am making large, broad generalizations, right? Like when we were talking about Kellogg's, for example, there's a story from my childhood that when Kellogg's first came to India, they're like, there are a billion people in this country. Even if we're only able to convert 10% of them to have breakfast every day with Kellogg's, a market pe aag laga denge. They were able to do pretty much nothing, right? And then eventually, when they got some traction, there's some company called Mohan's Cornflakes came and took the majority of the market share. So the number of layers of thought you put into figuring out that market size and who are prospective customers is super important. But the depth which you go into it, the time that you have, whether it's worth it or not, how powerful your product is, all of these are factors that you need to consider while thinking about whether to go bottom up or top down. So I don't think there is a single answer. I don't think there is a right or a wrong way to do it. The question is, what is the output you're looking for? If the output you're looking for is a super precise answer, then the question is, why do you need that? If you're doing a B2B product, it is more important because the number of companies you could potentially sell to is lower than in a B2C market. So you need to have a little more in-depth understanding. You can't have such broad generalizations there as you would have in B2C. So it depends a lot contextually, but what I'd suggest is that if you have a particular use case or something that you're trying to figure out, we can talk about it on WhatsApp and we can help you out. But largely, my understanding is there's no one correct answer. You need to do both most of the time. Anything you wanted to add, Varun?
No, I totally agree with you. So just for two examples, I will give you. So one is about Icon Scouts. When we were creating this plugin, we were like a Harek designer hoga. Everybody will use our plugin for that matter. That was the assumption, and we were like, there are millions and millions of designers, so everybody will do. But when we started generalizing them, then we realized, okay, only one approach we can't go above. We were like, our subscription is $9. These many millions of your designers are there. Let's say all will, even let's say 10-15% will pay to us, and we are done. But then we realize, it is that way we can't go about. There are other segments also you need to look into picture. That's when we come across different user, like marketeers and sales people. So yeah, overall what people suggested in B2B currently at cash free, when we are looking at international payments, so we want some kind of accuracy, and it is little easier, not I'm saying that easier, but little easier than compared to B2C. That okay, there's many companies in India who are selling, who are shipping outside. That is our time. That's how we were deriving that. Okay, we want to sell our payment gateway, international collections to them. So what is the basic requirement? That company, if they are into D2C space, they should be shipping outside of India. All right. Then we come to know that okay, there are not all the companies will be giving all kinds of payment modes and everything, and that's one by one we derive to the actual sum that okay, these many companies at the end of the day we can reach out, and this kind of numbers we can generate from them. So yes, it is right. Not only one approach would work. You have to come to some kind of middle ground using both of them.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, folks, any other questions? If nothing, please go enjoy your lunch. Thank you so much for your time and for the exercise. Please feel free to reach out to us via email, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, whatever, to get any kind of support that you need. We're super happy to have spent this time with you folks. Thank you again. And we'll be in touch. Take care.
And please, we will share the poll. So whatever date you find fit for the next session, do let us know. We want to know from you that when should we do it.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty important. Thanks, everyone.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
I'm ending the meeting. Okay. See you.
I'm
ending the meeting. Ending the meeting for now. See you. Bye-bye.